.844 iFiber One News Radio, Monday morning, and a good morning to you. It's Jeff and Carol. We're happy to have Lynn Longan on the air with us, the director of the Mason County Economic Development Council. Morning, Lynn.
Good morning.
Did you have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend.
It's nice out there, and bits and parts. There was a couple showers here and there, but for the most part, it's spring here in the Great South Sound.
Yeah.
Got some big roundtables coming up. We've been talking about all the roundtables that you guys have been putting on over the last couple of weeks. This week is the Value-Added Agriculture Week.
Right. Food and beverage, value-added ag. We've invited farmers, food and beverage companies, and cannabis companies.
Okay.
We did invite the cannabis growers. And the wine and wineries and distilleries, we've invited them too.
Sure.
Yeah.
All comes from agriculture.
Yep.
What is, after the end of this, everybody wraps up after the 11:30, 11:35. Right. So people at 11:35 are reflecting on what they just learned. What are some of the takeaways from previous roundtables that you can share?
I think what we're getting here is we're doing a SWOT analysis. So we're asking, it's not that you come and listen. We're not educating you at all on the industry. What we're asking is for you to bring your expertise to the table and help us. So we don't particularly know what all of your challenges are to run that type of a business in the county. So we're asking you, come share with us. And then once we can figure out what those are, then we can figure out, so these are some strategies going forward. This is what we can do. And maybe it's not the EDC, but maybe it's the county changing permitting regulations maybe, or it's if it's marketing, or I don't know. There's other entities involved though. So maybe it's something that the Mason County Conservation District can help with. And maybe they just didn't know it. I don't know. They probably know everything, but they probably do. They have a lot of great people. So, and they sent this invitation to all of their networks, and WSU Extension sent it to their networks, and Farm to Fork through Enterprise for Equity sent it to their networks. So we're hoping we get a good variety and a good display and a good showing of the industry.
So it's going to be at the Civic Center again on the 27th from 9 in the morning to 11:30. If someone is hearing this and maybe the message got lost,
right,
how can they get involved in it? Do they just show up, or do they
can
need
just show up, or they can, if they want to talk to us beforehand, that's great. Give us a call at the EDC 426-2276. There's a little bit more information on the website about it. Again, just show up.
It's a great way also. I mean, if you're in one part of the industry, you might not have known there was somebody in a part of the industry that you needed also. Right. So it's almost sort of like everybody can sort of figure out who's who and how you go forward with that.
Yeah, that's true. One of the things that's come out, like the aquaculture one that I started picking up on is, they have different associations. They have the Pacific Coast Growers Association. They have all these different associations. But some of the smaller growers here in the county, there's a lot of smaller growers that just have little pieces of land that they're farming. They might not know about all the others. So maybe it's that, we kind of help facilitate and bring these talks together. I don't know. That's one of the things that might come out of this. Maybe it's just so simple, and yet it might have an effect.
Right.
There is a lot of that. I mean, people often will just assume that people know things that are happening without letting them know.
Right.
The May 11th Industry Roundtable that's coming up is for information and communication technology.
Right.
That would be server farms, or is that something a little different?
We're trying to figure that one out. So that's one that at the roundtables, people said, yes, we want that. I was thinking when we were at the roundtables that some people were saying they wanted like clean energy type programs. That's what they were, our businesses, that's what they were talking about. So it's kind of interesting in that I'm not really sure. I figured the fiber providers that type of thing. And how do you grow an industry? We don't have a lot of high tech per se companies.
The Olympic College, anybody from the IT departments there?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we'll have them there.
Yeah.
Definitely. We'll invite them. iFiber.
Hey,
will be invited.
And soda also sort of shows you what's lacking in the area and what
does.
you could bring in
and
to
when
fill
we
that
did
gap.
These roundtables, I said to everyone, don't worry about whether we have it or not. Don't, let's just, sky's the limit. Tell me if this is something that we should pursue. And so if this is an industry that we want to grow, then we have to figure out how.
Yeah.
What do we need? What's the infrastructure we need? What's the workforce we need? So figure that out, and then figure out how to recruit that type of company.
Thinking about this too, someone could just know that they want to do something in information technology, just for example. And like Carol mentioned, they come and they hear all the stuff that's happening, and they can maybe fill in that hole of something that's not there. These are very nice.
It's a harder one if you're going to start from, you don't really have a foundation.
Yeah.
Aquaculture, for example, let's face it, we have more aquaculture growers in Mason County. I shouldn't say that because I don't know it for a fact, but I think we have more in Mason County than the other counties. We have a very strong aquaculture industry. So to help grow an industry that's already growing on its own, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
It's a little more challenging to grow an industry from the ground up. I expected people to come and say they wanted aerospace and Boeing because that's the big buzzword across the state. That didn't happen. I was kind of relieved it didn't happen. Boeing's not coming. Does that mean we can't grow aerospace industry? It doesn't. We actually could play onto Boeing, but it didn't come up. So
lots of different topics coming up. I'll just kind of go down these again on choosemason.com, the EDC's website, value added agriculture, food and drink. This upcoming week on the 27th, next week in 2 weeks, it'll be the information and communication technology, aquaculture, as we mentioned, advanced manufacturing. That could be more like not necessarily Boeing, but the parts that Boeing would buy or something.
Sure. Any manufacturing that has like technology in it.
Very cool.
Or just plain manufacturing.
Just some manufacturing would be good too, yes. The EDC website, choosemason.com. On there, you'll be able to find out different pieces of information to help you come to a decision if you're a business owner wanting to do more business in Mason County, with demographics and maps and more on the way. Also, you can see where the news and events and contact availability as well with Director Lynn Longan. The 2016 roundtables do continue on, and we will have this 27th is a Wednesday. No, is that a Wednesday? Where are we at, Meg?
Yes.
Calendar.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's
April
Wednesday.
27th, Wednesday, 9 to 11:30 at the Civic Center, value-added agriculture, food and drink. You're going to take a break next week. Jennifer will be in. And we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks.
Good to see you. 8:52 here at iFiber One News Radio. Take a break, and when we come back, we'll wrap things up here on a Monday morning. It's Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
You're listening to Daybreak on iFiber One News Radio.
Do you synchronize your planting schedule based on the moon's phase? A word to the wise on waxing and waning today from the Old Farmer's Almanac. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac radio report for Monday, April 25th, the 116th day of the year. Al Pacino has a birthday, and on this day in 1959, the St. Lawrence Seaway opened, connecting the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean. Depending on which part of the country you're in, planting season is either here or rapidly approaching. If you go by the age-old custom of planting by the moon's phase, here's how things stand. There is a waning moon right now, so any planting will be by the dark of the moon. This period is thought to be favorable for below-ground crops, potatoes, carrots, radishes, and such. After the new moon on May 6th, planting will be by the light of the waxing moon, favorable for above-ground crops like beans, peppers, and tomato plants. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac radio report. Consult our spring planting guide online at almanac.com.
iFiber One News Radio, 1030 KMAS and FM 103.3 presents Daybreak.
All right, good morning to you. It's 8:54 at iFiber1 News Radio. A couple 5 minutes here left on the big show and on the air. The old Deej, who was
the traveler.
The traveler himself, literally.
Literally.
Morning.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good.
Good show
seeing
this
you.
morning. Thank you.
You're
What?
welcome.
No chill this morning?
Good show
Oh,
this
good
morning.
show.
Thank you.
No chill. Did you ride your bike in?
No chill, no bike.
Yeah.
I should have, though. But it would have been hard to pack the tent and everything back.
Oh, yeah.
Still have
would
that
have been
motorcycle?
interesting.
Huh?
You still have the
I
motorcycle?
still have it. In fact, I just got my license tab renewal in the mail, so I know I still have it
man.
there, buried under all my stuff in my shop somewhere.
Imagine Dale, Casey Salisbury Sheriff, Mason County Sheriff, and who's the other guy? Toby. Kevin out there. That's like, what's that
So
movie?
wild
Hogs?
Wild
Yeah.
dogs.
Oh,
That's
my
how it would,
goodness.
that's how it
Getting
would play
yourself
out, I
into
would
trouble.
guarantee you. That's how
Whoa.
it would play out.
Well, it was good seeing you Saturday morning as I was getting set up for the opening day for youth baseball at MCRA. You were making duties at the Traveler 5K, the inaugural from Hood Canal Events.
Man, I have to tell you that. Yeah, it really went exceptionally well. And hats off to Jeff and Carrie and Hood Canal Events. They organized and put on this first ever, the Traveler 5K Fun Run and Walk. Great turnout. Over 220 runners and walkers showed up.
Wow.
And lots of vendors there to support. And, people hung out till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was just really a lot of fun. It's on an area called The Point, which is right out and across from, literally right across from the driving range at Alderbrook Golf Course. But you can see the clubhouse, and you can see a magnificent view of the canal and the Olympics and the Traveler. And we got pretty good cooperation from Mother Nature. It did start raining pretty good as we were breaking down. But as far as the event went itself, there was no rain. And everybody was in great spirits, and very successful.
Did you lead the exercises?
I led the march to the start line,
Okay.
and then I rode a golf cart back to the finish
Oh,
line.
man.
I was totally the epitome of the opposite of what this was all about.
I mean, so there were food trucks and vendors and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, lots of local merchants that were around in the Union area that came up and set up their booths as well. North Mason Chamber and the folks that handle the tourism, blue collar, their tent and Wild and Crazy, or the Wild Side of Washington. That's it. So they had their tent up and some Wi-Fi available, and it was just really a well orchestrated for the first time out. There was a couple of things. So the actual organized stretching didn't come off as scheduled, but there's a couple of glitches. But overall, it really went well. They have scheduled now for October the first ever 10K Mutter, Mason County Mutter, and it's going to be coming up in October, and that'll be up at the Skokomish Park on Lake Cushman. So, Jeff, start getting in shape, because you're the only one on the staff that can.
We were talking about how he used to run 5 to 10 miles a day.
Well, I had on my Facebook thing popped up, and it was my week schedule. It was 5, 5, 8, 5, 20.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's when I was doing my marathon
That's when he was
training.
young. 5 years ago.
My phone goes nuts when I reach my goal, which is 1 mile per day of movement.
Yeah.
Just walking.
It gets all sorts of fanfare. Way to go!
Way to go.
Yeah.
You did it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So a
2,000
Mutter,
steps.
a 10K Mutter, so a 7-mile race with events in between.
About every half mile.
So I've done 2 Warrior Dashes.
This is very similar.
And that's like that, only a little longer in length, but those are fun. And it's not about the time.
No.
With those events, because basically, unless you're the first one out the gate and you push everybody, like you pull a Costanza with the clown and the fire.
Get out of the way, lady.
Everybody runs, and then you get to the event,
You stand around.
and you have to stand and wait for people to get through it.
Yeah.
So there's no real time. You just go and have a good time.
Yeah.
Those
So
are fun.
That will be a lot of fun.
October.
I was, by the way, just as an aside, I was very impressed with the runners. And you had it figured out 7 minutes a mile or something average, or
9-minute mile.
9-minute miles. And so these people were done, like 20 minutes, 21 minutes, 22 minutes, 5K.
Yeah.
Like they almost beat me back in my cart.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah,
like,
so those
are you
runners-
done already? And they go, yeah. They weren't even like breaking a sweat.
Yeah, so that'd be like a 7 to 9 minute mile, which
Yeah.
is about average. If you're if you
do that,
run,
if
that's
you're in
about
shape.
good.
Yeah, yeah. So really, up there, everybody was in such good. And there were some costumes up there and
Fun.
superheroes, and then the Seahawk, a lot of Seahawk garb that
Mhm.
was being worn, and kids, people of all ages.
Good.
Yeah. So saw a lot of good old friends and a lot of good young friends.
Well,
And I had a good time myself, and most everybody that I talked to did.
good. I'm glad that it worked out well. HoodCanalEvents.com is their website. They do a couple other things, like they'll give you on a taste of Hood Canal tours. There's some stuff at the Ridge they're working on. So
Yeah.
check that out. HoodCanalEvents.com.
Okay, and I did post a video, 1 minute video of the start
Okay.
of the race. So
That's
if
on our-
anybody wants to check that out.
Facebook page. We'll be back tomorrow. Tom Hartman's coming up next.
You're listening to Daybreak on I-Fiber One News Radio.